2 weeks ago, these 4 drivers were on a level playing field as they started their Championship 4 round at Nashville Superspeedway. Bryce Fontaine took the race win there. Last week they were at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. That magic mile gave a race win to CD Mangrum as he cut the deficit now down to 10 points going in to the finale at the place that has held the championship race since 2020, Phoenix Raceway. Tonight, those 2 drivers, as well as Ray Hanneman and Mason Tomlinson, try to get another win here. And CD tries to close the gap of 10 points to try to get himself a championship in the inaugural season of High Velocity Racing League in their Cup Series. Welcome to the virtual Phoenix Raceway here for the High Velocity Racing League Cup Series finale. This just over a mile track is going to be very hot and very slick, as the ambient temperature of 88 degrees will result in a track temp of 117 in Avondale, Arizona. The dogleg will play a factor here as well. Who's going to be cutting that as often as they can? But we shall see tonight who our champion will be. 156 laps here tonight with stages at 39 and 78 with 4 additional sets of tires. Fastest on track through the practice session has been Bryce Fontaine. He's gotten himself a 27.133. He leads the points by 10 over the second fastest on track in CD Mangrum. CD's not on track right now, but I'm not sure that that's his paint scheme either, so I'm going to go ahead and just refresh that real quick. There it is. The driver for GTR. Found success last week at the flat oval of New Hampshire Motor Speedway, getting the race win. Closing that gap up by 3 points to give him a shot here in Phoenix. He'll need a good race night tonight. As perfect as he can get. A pole would be good. Stage wins would be even better. A race win, most important. Stages, though, will be very important for him as well, as that's his only way to close the gap. Ray Hanneman messaged me earlier today and said that he was enjoying the track. So we'll see what he can do. He has got a long way to go, 24 points behind the points leader. And at this point, I think he would need a miracle in order to get to the championship. But he can secure himself a third-place position in this championship and potentially a second place if CD has a terrible day. Only 7 cars will be racing here this evening. The practice session has concluded. So we'll see what these guys can do today in qualifying.
Pace car.
I'm assuming that means Mason hit the wall.
Hit the barrels.
Hit the barrels. will be the first out on track as drivers enter their cars for the qualifying session. Looks like Bryce is out on track. Trying to set the tone. Cutting that dog leg to try to shave as much time as he possibly can. Off turn 4. First lap down for Kern. He's leading the way right now at a 27.45. Fontaine, 28.38. Going to be pushing it here on lap 2 for sure. Mercado has a better lap as well, as he's got a 27.34. Everybody putting down, looks like, better laps than Fontaine did. Oh, and CD got loose. And that was after his lap. So 27.28 for Mangrum. Fontaine going to jump to the top of the board, though, with a 27.11. And Marini's second lap puts him up to P5 with a 27.35. Hanneman with a fast lap, 27.09 for the number 85. He'll be sitting right now on that pole position. But that will do it for the qualifying session. As we've got about 2 minutes left, we will take a quick break here and return with the grid and the start of the final race of Season 1 for the High Velocity Racing League Cup Series. all the drivers are on the track ready to go. Leading them to the green flag is going to be Ray Hanneman in the 85, a championship contender, with teammate Bryce Fontaine outside of row 1. CD Mangrum in third, with teammate Jose Mercado on the outside of row number 2. Row 3 has the 45 of Mike Marini and Mason Tomlinson on the outside and starting in 6th. And finishing out the field is William Kern in the number 31. Pace car dives off. The field will pace around all the way to the restart zone, where we will start our final race of season 1.
Green, green, green.
Green flag flies, and we are racing from Phoenix. First lap of the race, there goes Fontaine down to the inside. Fontaine goes high, running very high, using that cut down early on here. Oh, and Ray gets loose, maybe a little bit of contact, couldn't tell. Fontaine will start to pull away. Mangrum being very consistent so far, sits in 3rd place. Not using a lot of that dog leg. Ooh, CD looked like he may have gotten out to the wall that time. As I was getting ready to go to his teammate Mike Marini, who sits in the 4th position. Everybody trying to save as much as they can to save through the first stage. Hanneman looks to the outside of Fontaine. And looks like Ray gonna get out to the race lead once again. Making sure that we were sitting in the live position. Maybe just wanted to make sure I wasn't behind, really. Yeah, Ray starting to lead the laps. Tomlinson was able to get by Mercado through turns 1 and 2. Mercado out into the wall. These guys going into heavy save mode. Marini has been passed by Will for the 4th position. CD started to fall back a little bit from the front 2. Front still leading the way, though, is Hanneman. Looks like Will has been able to get up to third now as he goes to the inside on Mangrum through 1 and 2. Like somebody may have collected the wall there into turn 1 in front, which would have been either Hanneman or Fontaine. Looks like there's a little bit of damage there to the front of Fontaine's car, but just as I was looking at it, it disappeared, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. Mercado and Tomlinson, again, just kind of running around in the back, saving as much as they can. These two the closest on track. And it looks like these two will continue to be closest on track. Meanwhile, Fontaine starting to close back in on Hanneman. He's got that gap down a bit underneath of second. And Will has started to gain on P2 as well. Hanneman continues to lead the race. He's done a good job, though, really. Able to get out in front. He lost the lead pretty quickly. Was able to get it back just a couple of laps later and has been running in that front position since about lap 3. He also needed to have as good of a points day as he possibly could. Right there, we hit the halfway point here in stage 1. And And it looks like Will has caught up to Fontaine. A little bit of contact there on entrance to turn 1 for Kern. Looks like Mercado has started to get on it as well, as he's gaining on Marini and has pulled away from Tomlinson. Either that or Tomlinson is going into ultra save mode still. But he has built a gap up over 2 seconds over Tomlinson. And there goes Kern to the inside. Through turns 1 and 2, Kern should complete that pass for the second position. Looks like he starts to pull away from Fontaine and slightly start to gain on the race leader of Hanneman. Ooh, Fontaine caught the wall there that time out of 2. Looks like he's got a little bit of nose damage on the right side and left side potentially. Not sure how that's affecting his handling right now. Mangrum also has fallen back to Marini. Yeah, Kern has gained on Hanneman for sure, down to within 0.6 as it just creeps over that mark. "12 more laps in stage 1. And there will be a battle for the race lead in the stage win. And have these two at the front saved enough fuel to make it to the stage end. Will using the momentum around the outside. Slight contact between the two. Hanneman able to hold him off with that contact. Now Will goes diving to the inside. And Hanneman will have to relinquish the race lead. Kern has way too much pace, and away goes the 31 out to the race lead for William Kern. And already jumping out over a half a second off a 2 that time. He was one of the faster drivers at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in the Gen 6 this past Monday. So it doesn't surprise me that he is showing his prowess here at Phoenix. Granted, a little bit more banking here at Phoenix than there is at New Hampshire. Not terribly much. Will started to close that gap, or Will started to lose that gap that he had gained as Hanneman starts to reel him back in. A little bit of contact off of 2 that time for the 85. Will starting to save now. May have pushed a little bit too early. Four more laps in stage 1. And Mercado has gotten up to 4th. Mangrum now back in 5th. Mercado sits there. Mangrum right behind him. But a long way to go to catch up to Fontaine. And now Hanneman has closed the gap back up within 0.3. Next time by, the pit road will be closed with 2 laps to go in the stage, and Mangrum will get by his teammate. Pit road is closed, 2 to stage. And there goes Hanneman back to the race lead. Looks like Hanneman has maybe saved enough fuel. Mangrum, he did get by.
I think it'd be easy to save 3 laps of fuel here.
Mercado. One more time around. Oh, and Will very much off the pace. Looks like he might get attacked here by Fontaine. This time around, though, race leader comes across the line. Stage 1 goes to Hanneman.
Yellow flag is out.
That is stage 1. Congratulations, Hanneman, on stage 1 victory.
That was exceptional fuel saving.
That it was.
Thank you.
Down pit road we go.
Are you running out?
Me?
Another 31.
Into the boxes they go. Everybody taking 4 tires. Hanneman gets out in front. And Bryce comes out second. Kern will get out third. I think Marini had to pit with pit road closed, so he will fall to the tail end. We'll grab Ray Hanneman, Stage 1 winner. I know that we had talked, or you messaged me and told me that you were feeling really good about this track. How you feeling after that first stage?
This is one of my favorite tracks all time. I'm happy the Cup Series runs here twice a year, and definitely my go-to to go visit and watch this race because I just love this track so much.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of fuel saving. What's the plan here for Stage 2? A little bit more of that saving?
I can make it. I'm not worried whatsoever, so I'm just going to run my line here and have fun with the stage.
All right, well, good luck in this second stage. We got 1 to green, so I'll let you go, and good luck.
Awesome, thanks, appreciate it.
10 stage points for the 85 as he picks up a couple on the championship leader, Fontaine. Meanwhile, Fontaine now up 12 points over CD Mangrum in the championship race. Basically, it's going to be Hanneman and Kern, and then single file for the rest of the way.
Green, green, green.
Green flag flies as Hanneman rips away. Going to go back and look at that replay because that was close. Oh, he nailed it perfect, I think. He nailed it.
Holy crap.
My bad. We got really good.
Did your heart stop, CD? I was actually looking down and I looked up and there was whatever was going on. I'll take it.
Battle for the race lead, though, between Fontaine and Hanneman. Fontaine dives to the inside. Ray did a good job of taking away the line that Fontaine wanted to use, but he is still running hard. Down the backstretch they go. Tight racing between these two. Through the dog leg, Hanneman has the advantage down into turn 1. Highline King there off a 2 gives Hanneman the race lead once again as Fontaine falls back into P2. I didn't see exactly what had happened that had everybody so scared, so we were busy taking a look at the race restart. Everything seems to have settled down a little bit here at the front. Hanneman and Fontaine still nose to tail, though, running around this 1 mile track. Mangrum sits in fourth, is trying to get his way back up to Will to try to get back into the third position. Meanwhile, Kern's done a good job to put himself in a position near the front. Fontaine and Hanneman still duking it out front, though. Hanneman doing a good job of holding them off. Doing a very good job of holding off with that Eternal Racing Mustang. Battle brewing for third, though. Mangrum closes in underneath 0.4 of a second to that third position. And he
What's the next stage?
continues to push.
78.
That's the one. That is correct, 78.
Thank you.
Yeah, Kern under fire here from Mangrum as CD closes in, trying to get that third position to set his sights on his championship contender that's in front of him. CD closed up very tight, now within 0.3 once again. Poking and prodding, trying to find his way by. Good defensive lines, though, from Kern. Hanneman started to pull away from Fontaine as well. And now Fontaine's falling back to both Kern and Mangrum. So P2 could be a point of contention here very soon. Great run from Will down the front straightaway through the dog leg. And now Kern looks to the inside. Momentum for Fontaine off of 2. Like we said, high side king down the backstretch. Now Fontaine starting to close back in. Not sure if he just tried to save a little bit of fuel there or not, but 18 more trips around before the end of the second stage. Bryce taking a very high line through turns 1 and 2, but that's going to give him all the momentum he needs down the backstretch to continue to hold on to P2. Mangrum has fallen back from second and third now. He sits about 1.2 seconds behind William Kern. And he's got Tomlinson breathing down his neck now, too. Kern has finally gotten by Fontaine. We missed it as we were looking back a little deeper in the pack. But now Kern has his sights set for the race lead once again. He has that gap down underneath a second, now underneath 9/10 of a second as he rips down the front straightaway. That gap now underneath a half a second. Kern looking to pounce on the race lead and try to get it as quickly as possible. Kern prowling. He has gotten himself within a 10th. He looks to the inside down through turns 1 and 2. Hanneman has done a good job of defending from the high side. He'll continue to do so down the backstretch and into turn 3. This time around, though, will have the inside line again. Kern to the inside. Hanneman trying to run hard around the outside, have that momentum. But a good run down the backstretch keeps Hanneman and Kern side by side down into turn 3. Inside is king here, but again, Hanneman doing a good job of just keeping that quarter panel, not allowing the leader to get clear, but that time Kern sends him up the track enough to get through, and William Kern back out to the race lead once again. This is about when he got the race lead last time, maybe a couple of laps later. And then at the end of the run, Hanneman was able to reel him back in with fuel saving being an issue. Both these guys did not go in to top off. Mercado and Tomlinson next closest battle on track here, with Mangrum involved in that a little bit as well. Mercado, though, dives way down through the dogleg, trying to shave off as much time as he can. just see the difference in the drivers and where they're putting their cars through the dog leg. Which goes to show you the comfort level through the dog leg for these drivers. Six more laps, William Kern leading the way. And just like last time, Hanneman starts to reel him back in as we approach the end of the stage. Usually as Will has to go into save mode. 5 more laps. 4.5 more laps in stage 2. Mason trying to find his way by Mercado as he goes to the outside of the 41. Fontaine continues to hold the 3rd position. Mangrum trying to close in on that. Leader takes lap 75, 3 laps to go in stage 2. This time by Kern. Will close pit road here. He crosses the line, 2 to go in stage 2. Pits are closed, 2 to stage. Hanneman was not able to close the gap as much as he did last time at this point. One more time around in stage 2 for William Kern. A half a second the gap to P2 as Hanneman is trying to find it. Battle going on for the top 5. Mercado and Tomlinson continue to race side by side. Off of 2. Down through turn 3 though. And off of turn 4. William Kern wins stage 2. That's stage 2. William Kern, congratulations on the stage win.
Your race knows that it's hard to do that when we're trying to not run out of gas.
Yeah. It kind of sucks.
With that,
You can give us a points update.
that stage. Yeah, I can. CD, you are now 13 points back on Bryce.
Where am I at?
That's a great question. Give me just a second, I'll calculate. Doing things on the fly.
Sure you have it locked down in P2.
Pretty sure Bryce has it locked down, but we want to take a look and just see. That's not the one I wanted. Everybody coming down pit road here.
I don't know, you were pretty close, Ray.
Quickly grab. We'll grab the stage 2 winner, William Kern. You've got some good strategy in favor for you. You got the track position sitting in the second position now. How you feeling going into the final stage here, Will?
Feeling pretty good. It's all a fuel race, man. Tires feel good at the end. I think my tires are a little better than everybody else's right now. I like Phoenix. It's a good track. It's been a while since I've been in these Cup cars, but I figured I'd make the final race for you. So.
I don't know.
Well, you're putting on a show. You and Hanneman have been out front pretty much the entirety of it. Fontaine's got a lap lead as well, I believe. So, what's your plan here going to the third stage? Just fuel save and try to make it to the end?
Fuel saving, I don't think is going to be too big of an issue. We all got to stop at least once anyways. My main thing is just take care of the tires.
All right. Well, good luck the rest of the way. I'll get you back down with your team.
Thank you.
Green flag, green flag.
Green flag flies here as we restart in stage number 3. And Marini is off the track now.
From TD or from Bryce?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna finish third, all because of this race.
Sorry about that. We were doing some calculations behind the scenes. I was doing some calculations behind the scenes to try to make sure I had the right numbers. And actually, CD, you're one more point behind than I thought because Bryce also led a lap, so you're 14 back. So Ray and CD now
I'm
sitting.
just gonna assume that Ray's gonna get the most laps led.
CD. Oh, hang on. CD, that was also factored into what the calculations were, because I think he's already at the most laps led. So 3 points separate the two of you right now.
There's a chance. Thank you for the update.
That's the quick calculations in the head. So if I'm wrong, I don't think I am. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But at this point, I think Fontaine does have the championship locked up with the stage points he's accumulated. At this point, it is a battle for the second position in the championship. And right now, if Hanneman gets the race win, that's enough to push him over the edge and into P2 in the championship standings. Meanwhile, Mangrum, he would fall from second to third. See Mercado really pushing here. Faster than he's been all night. He's up to P2. This is, I think, the farthest up the running order he's been. But he continues to do an aggressive cut through the dogleg each and every lap. And CD sits in third. See what he can do. Mercado running very aggressive here. Ray doing a good job of maintaining the gap. Mercado does a good job on entry, but Hanneman seems to pick up that time that he loses on entry as he exits corners. That's both ends of the track. At both ends of the track. Back in the battle for third. Mangrum still holds it, but Fontaine has closed up on him. And it looks like he's going to start to attack the third place runner of Mangrum. Kern's falling back to fifth now. Tomlinson still does run in sixth. Ray continues to do a good job of maintaining that gap, but off of two that time. Jose had a lot of momentum down the backstretch, and he will close it to within 0.7. And this time now, Mercado has started to pick up the exit speed. Down to within a 0.5 second now for Jose. Good battle for the race lead about to be brewing. Mercado is there to the back bumper of Hanneman. Once again, that aggressive cut through the dogleg for Mercado as he will go to the inside of the race leader. And that time around, Mercado will get the race lead. Hanneman's not ready to give it up, though. I think right now, though, Mercado just has the better advantage on the tires. Meanwhile, battle here for third as well. Mangrum holds P3. Fontaine looking to attack. Take a look at the best times so far. Looks like Fontaine holds the fastest lap of the race so far. A 26.896 is the fastest lap of the race so far. Actually keep that up there at the top so we can keep tabs on the fastest lap of the race. Next time by, it'll be 51 laps remaining. Leading this race now, Jose Mercado. Mercado had a very good race at New Hampshire Motor Speedway last week until he got caught speeding on pit road. Commented that there might have been some contact between himself and the 85. Put him a lap down. He ended up finishing in second after some damage to a lot of the drivers there. But teammate Mangrum got the race win and pulled himself back within the 10 points. But now, after stages have all been concluded, Fontaine looks to be able to coast to the championship here at Phoenix. Jose trying to get himself a race win here at Phoenix, though. Hanneman has started to fall back a little bit. .3 the gap to the race lead, but now 7/10 to P3 in CD Mangrum. Hard shot to the wall there for CD out of 2. Try to take a look at that car. Fontaine got very tight there to CD down the backstretch. Going to the rear chase cam. Yeah, looks like a lot of scuff damage there on the right front of the number 9 car, as he will lose another position to William Kern. Kern and Mangrum battling side by side. Kern will hold the position now as CD falls back to P5. Fontaine holds third now with William Kern right behind him, as Mangrum started to fall back from those guys. They're closing in on Hanneman, not Mercado, Hanneman. We're going to have a battle here for third between Fontaine and Kern. These guys have been around each other all night. Ooh, contact between Kern and Fontaine. As Fontaine hit the wall. Oh, that's big time damage to the right front of the 31. Not what he wanted to have happen, obviously. You know Fontaine didn't want it to happen either. Look at that left rear quarter panel of the 12 as well. Obviously, neither of those drivers wanted that to happen. Mercado has come down pit road, though, as he's down into his box. Looks like he's got some potential scrapes on the right-hand side, too. Can't tell from that angle. Fontaine down pit road, as is Kern. That leaves Hanneman out in the lead with Mangrum in second. And Hanneman is going to go another lap. Here comes Mangrum, though. Hanneman shaving as much time as he can as he comes down pit road. Right now, Mercado, the net race leader, as he passes the leader. going down pit road. He'll come by and pass both Mangrum and Tomlinson. Down into the pit box goes Hanneman. Mercado ripping around off of 4 right now. He'll pass Hanneman for the race lead. Here comes Ray back out on track. He sits in 3rd behind Bryce and Mercado. Strategy call here from Hanneman. Potentially a 2-tire stop. Kern still holds 4th, Mangrum in 5th. Mangrum was able to get by Kern for 4th. You hear Mercado cutting the engine and coasting through the corners. Hanneman closes in on Fontaine, looking for P2. Both of these guys trying to chase down Mercado. I don't think Hanneman's needing to save as much. Through 1 and 2, Hanneman does make the pass. Fontaine looks to the inside, down the backstretch though. The more these two battle with each other, the quicker they allow Mercado to pull away. And it looks like Hanneman has completed the pass off of 4 this time. And up into second with 26 to go. CD also trying to gain on Fontaine to try to get by him. How much saving will Mercado have to do? Looks like Mercado's done saving. That's what it sounds like. Seems like he's good to go the rest of the way. To go here from Phoenix. Still a little bit of saving going on. Yeah, Mercado back into save mode here. That's just what Hanneman needs. Contact there off of 4 for Hanneman with the wall. Ray is having to push as hard as he can. Mangrum is caught up to Fontaine as well. He's got that gap within a second. 0.6 between these two. CD continuing to try to put the pressure on Hanneman. With the way the cards have fallen so far, it looks like Hanneman's going to need the race win to get to second. Seems like Fontaine's still saving fuel. I'm not sure if Mangrum is as well or not. Hanneman continues to close that gap, though. Mercado down to 1.5. There goes CD to the inside. Not much Fontaine could do. I think he's in save mode. 16 to go. Hanneman continuing to close the gap. curious to hear if Mercado continues to save. He's not saving now. As the gap starts to grow once again. 15 laps. Back to coasting. Almost caught the wall that time, did Mercado. Ray still pushing as hard as he can. Ray gained a lot of time that lap. Back down to 1.5 seconds. Mercado trying to maintain the gap as much as he can. 10 to go here from Phoenix. Mercado losing about 1/10 that time through 1 and 2.
Mercado, do you make it?
Gonna find out.
Yep.
This time by Mercado, taking 8 laps to go.
Sorry, you're on all teams. I didn't hear you with that.
Yes.
Ooh, he caught the wall that time. And at this point, I think the save versus 2 tires advantage is slightly in the favor of Mercado. I say that. Hanneman is now pushing hard. Closes the gap and hard shot to the wall there. That might cost him the race. I don't know. That was a hard shot to the outside wall there. Out of 2 for Hanneman. This time by 5 laps to go. Mercado still leading the way. And a race win from Jose is probably going to save his teammate in the championship points for P2. Ray's got to close a second-plus gap in 4 more laps. It's going to be interesting. Hanneman doing what he can. Three to go this time by Jose, continuing to have to save fuel. And he's saving earlier and earlier down the straightaways. Going way high up the track. 0.3 the advantage. Two more laps here from Phoenix.
Go, everybody.
Oh, and Jose not going to make it to the end. Ray takes over the race lead with 2 to go. Mercado down pit road with 2 to go. Now does Hanneman have enough? He was pushing. White flag. One second the advantage.
Oh my God.
Is he going to be able to hold him off? The charge off of 4. And Ray Hanneman wins the race in Phoenix.
GG's.
Mangrum comes home second with Fontaine in
You had to
third.
I mean, that's just a great performance. Good job.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Do you take a full tank there on the last pit stop, Hanneman?
Full tank, 2 tires.
It was a 2-tire stop.
That was weird. 'Cause you were still saving fuel, and I pitted like 4 laps before you.
Yeah, I knew I just had enough, like barely, to make it if I put on lap 120.
Go, everybody. Good race.
I'm out of fuel now, though. I can't do any burnouts or anything, so I'm just going to keep on track.
Championship winner here in the number 12. And Hanneman, I believe, was able to squeak out the P2 based on the points. We'll have to find out officially. But by my calculations, I think he is within the points to get that win and get to second. So we'll quickly go over the race results here. And Hanneman gets the win. Started on the pole, finished on the front of the field. CD Mangrum up to P2. Fontaine in third. William Kern fourth. Mercado, having to pit there with a couple of laps to go, finishes in fifth. And then Tomlinson sixth, and Marini rounding out the field tonight. And because order of operations is going to be a little bit weird tonight, because the championship winner is the one that comes home in third. So I believe tonight we're going to start with our second place finisher. Just makes the most sense. We will talk with CD here in just a moment. Overall, not a bad race, though, from these guys. I mean, a fuel-saving race for sure. I mean, everybody already knew that was going to be the case. Seemed like that from the start. So yeah, we will start it with CD. A little bit weird of operations here with the third place finisher being the champion tonight, but CD, you bring it home in the second position for the race, and again, not official, but I think due to the calculations that I had earlier, I think Ray was able to pass you for the second place in the standings. But overall, how you feeling about the season?
I'm not happy right now.
Well, yes, understandable.
No, yeah, I mean, finishing second, first, second in the last three, and then finished third in points. I mean, hey, credit to Ray. He had to sweep everything pretty much, and he did. They could, not a fan of Phoenix. Even though I finished second. Yeah, pretty disappointed in that, but got 4 wins on the season. It was a fun time. I had a good time. We learned a lot. But yeah, I'm pretty disappointed right now. So.
Yeah, that's understandable, especially after the dominating run you had through the playoffs. I think you had 2 race wins in the round of 8, and then a third in this championship round.
Yeah.
I mean, really, really good performance in the playoffs. And
How many did I was I behind? What, 2?
I think at the end you're going to be behind by 2 or 3 points.
Yeah.
Based on my again, I could be wrong. So you may still have second. I don't think I am either. I took time and kind of looked at it. He did not get the fastest lap.
I forgot about that.
So
I wasn't even calculating that, to be honest.
So Bryce had gotten the fastest lap of the race as well earlier on, and so I was kind of trying to calculate as many of the things as I could, and I think you're going to come up just 2 points short, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, we could have got that last week. A position here, position there, lap led here tonight. Definitely something that we could have managed, but I mean, I didn't think I was gonna come in 14 up on third and then leave out of here behind. So, excluding that though, but yeah, congrats to Bryce on the title. It was a good season. I got more acclimated towards the end. Just getting in the rhythm. Kind of took it a little bit more serious towards the end once playoffs were coming up and I'll kind of put a little bit more thought into the race setup and whatnot and what I was gonna do. But yeah, I had a good time. We got some wins. That's always a good thing. I think we came out with a little bit in prizes, so we'll take that. Thank you to you broadcasting, the admins, and everybody. Shout out to the fans, GTR. Yeah. What can I say?
all right. Well,
just came up a little short.
Yeah, unfortunately, that sometimes will happen. But CD, it was a hell of a season from you, and appreciate you coming out and racing with us here on Friday nights in the High Velocity Racing League Cup Series.
Hey, appreciate you guys. Y'all take care.
All right, thanks, CD. Finished in second. Looks like he's coming home in the third position in the points. We'll grab our race winner next because it's a little bit of a weird situation with you getting the race win, but we got a champion in that top 3 as well. But Ray Hanneman, I think, based on my calculations, with the race win, I think you're going to take CD by about 2 or 3 points. So,
That's wild.
You were 14 points back going into the night. I mean, this panned out exactly how you needed it to. And with the race win at the end, that's just the icing on the top of the cake right there for you, right?
Oh, 100%. Like this, I love this track, and I know I was saying it in stage 1, but talking with some of the guys, like they were sputtering coming to every single stage, and I had had an extra lap coming into stage 1, and I was 4 laps to the good coming into stage 2. So definitely, I definitely got something going on this track. I mean, with all the laps I put in, all the practice, and all the NISs I've run over the years at this track, it's definitely one of my favorites, as I was saying, and I'm glad we were able to take home a first place win tonight and get enough points to get P2 in the league.
What's your mindset with like 10 to go? You see Jose sputtering around the track, and he's telling you he's good to go to the end, and then all of a sudden here comes Mangrum on the last lap charging, and you're having to save at that point because you were pushing so hard to try to get to the race lead at the end. I mean, what's your mindset in those last handful of laps?
I knew if I had a good 1 and 2 in the last lap, I knew Magram, like, he's a good driver. I'm not gonna discredit that whatsoever. I just, with the gap that he had, dirty air and stuff like that too. He would have had to really push. And with old tires, like, I know all of the right fronts were getting burned up. It's just one of those tracks where the tires really eat away here. So I knew it was. I knew if I got by Mercado, I'd do well. I just didn't think he'd be able to stay out as long as he did. He was doing a really good job saving, so I'll give props to him as well. I knew if I hit 120 to pit, I was able to make it on fuel, just due to our fuel counter. We have, it was around 36.7 laps of fuel on a good run at least. So I know it's kind of what I was basing it off of, and luckily was able to get around Bryce and not battle him too hard there, and was able to kind of stay in that dirty air with Mercado, but not really. And then when I noticed that he was having trouble staying on the bottom, and then also running out of fuel and really saving, I knew by then I think I pretty much had it solidified.
Yeah, and race win, jumping a person. I didn't think there was really an opportunity to get another position in the championship, but you were able to do that. So I mean, you got to be feeling good about that as well. I mean, just the resiliency, especially after the hot start you had into the beginning of the playoffs with the 5 stage wins and the race win that you had. That's really got to play a factor as well. I mean, that's a great start to the playoffs and a good way to cap it off here.
It definitely propelled me to get me in the position I'm in now. If I didn't get those stage wins, that race win, anything like that, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now, right? I'd just be another driver going for a win, right? And at that point, I wouldn't really want to mess with all of the the top 4 going for the championship if I wasn't in the contention. So happy it all worked out in the start. And I know we had a little bit of a rocky playoffs. It wasn't not my best tracks, but able to still have some good finishes here and there and some good stage points and keep me into it. And then I was just looking forward to this race. I had it circled on the calendar, so.
Well, you had it circled. You get the check mark next to it as the race win. Anybody you want to shout out before we let you go, Ray?
I got to thank you. Put on an amazing season, just for the broadcasting and stuff like that, and being there for every single race pretty much, except for Nashville. I had that one covered, I'm just saying. No. But, no, all in all, like all the admins, all the competitors out there, I got to thank, Eternal Racing, great group of family out there, and I'm glad that they're sticking on board and working with all the drivers, making sure that we're top notch and ready to go for every race, and working together as a family and stuff like that. It really means a lot. I gotta thank the girlfriend supporting me through this, and I know she was in chat tonight cheering me on, so a big shout out to her. I gotta thank iStats. I gotta thank Triple Stint Racing, P1 Docs, one of our newest sponsors on the car. Man, there's so many people to thank, and just don't have time to do it, I guess.
Well, that's the season for you. Good finish here to it, Ray, and we'll catch you around the corner.
Awesome, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
And last but not least, I know you finished in 3rd tonight. You had some damage on the left rear quarter panel of that number 12 Eternal Racing Toyota, but a champion here in our Cup Series. Bryce, how you feeling? You there, Bryce?
Was I muted?
You were muted.
My bad. I thought I unmuted. Yeah, no, it's a little bittersweet. I would have loved to obviously cap the season off with a win, but Ray and Jose were kind of the class of the field. I know Jose spent a majority of the kind of first half of the race saving, which we all were, but he really came alive in that 3rd stage. I know he ended up running out of fuel, but on pure pace alone, like I said, Ray and Jose had the field. But like I said, a little bittersweet, but at the end of the day, we get the championship trophy, so I can't complain.
Yeah, and I mean, it caps off a hell of a season for you as well. A ton of race wins. You get the race win at the start of this championship round as well at Nashville. I know that one wasn't broadcasted, but it really started you on the right path in this championship round, right?
Yeah, I mean, this season as a whole has been an interesting one. I mean, I started the season in Tennessee, ended up moving, I don't want to say halfway across the country, but moved a pretty far decent way. Finished here in Florida. A lot of race wins early on, kind of blended in throughout the middle of the season, and then, like you said, had a little bit of a run there towards the end, and then back to kind of just being average. But it's been a blast. I wish, obviously, that the car count didn't fall off as much as it did. I know that usually kind of happens around, playoffs and, whatever the format that people choose to run. I know the fall off usually happens, but would have loved to have been able to race more cars on track. I think that's kind of been a skill suit of mine, is being able to kind of navigate traffic and, strategy. But all in all, yeah, I mean, 7 wins, I think it was on the season, and a couple of them I would have liked to have had back, but all in all, here we are. And shout out to all the other guys on track, man, for everything. Ray had to have pretty much a perfect night tonight, and he didn't quite have a perfect night, but he had a perfect enough night. And yeah, I kind of thought that the points were set where they were, but Ray kind of proved us wrong on that one.
I think really that was kind of how I thought of it as well. I figured you had the best chance at winning the championship. Mangrum would have had a perfect night in order to beat you. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes Hanneman behind him. 14 points down at the beginning of the race. Wins stage 1, second in stage 2. Had the pole, wins the race, has the most laps led. I mean, he had almost every single bonus point he could get other than the one that you got, which was the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, and that was by design. I felt, it's really weird, man. I felt really good about this race in practice. I did a little bit of practice before our session opened and had some really fast times. Was running times even faster than what we posted in qualifying. And yeah, I felt good. And then, I was a little too conservative on the qualifying lap. I know that I was, I think, like 1.5 to 2 quicker in practice than everybody else. So I didn't push it that extra little 2% that I probably could have, and Ray capitalized on that, put down a heater. And yeah, I was talking to CD before I came up here, and before he got dragged, he was like, you were kind of just riding around. And I was like, I mean, I was riding around, but honestly, man, I didn't have anything for him. Will joined us tonight, obviously, and I was in a chat with him, and I was like, there's no way that those guys up there are going to be able to make it. Will passes me like he's standing still, gets up to Ray, and then they finish the stage. So they had the pace, and once, I was battling Ray there in the first stage, and I was like, well, whatever. I mean, there's no way he's going to be able to make it on fuel. I'll just let him go. He's going to go try to get the most amount of laps led, and again, had a hell of a pace from him. So I figured, I knew kind of what I had to do. I just had to be ahead of CD. I mean, 10 points is a lot to make up, and he didn't get the pole, and then Ray was leading laps, so I felt like I was in a good spot. And then at the beginning of the third and final stage, I went in, topped off for fuel, kind of went to the back of the field, and I literally did a qualifying run just to try to get those extra couple bonus points. And I don't really think that was the difference, but it did make a difference. And yeah, I let CD go by in the third stage, trying to give him a chance to get the Ray to make it entertaining, and he almost got it, not quite. But like I said, man, I just got to say Ray and Jose had some freaking speed, and I couldn't do anything about it. So I was just survival mode, cross the finish line, and go from there.
Well, you mentioned Will as well, and there was some contact between the two of you after you collected the wall, and then Will was right on your quarter panel. How bad did that affect your handling on your race car?
It kind of helped, honestly. Me and Will were, I say battling. I was gonna give it to him there coming into 3, but I got behind Ray, got into the dirty air. Car just got tight. Will was right there, and it was one of those things, kind of like what happened with me and Jose at New Hampshire. I got the wall, and Will was just so close that he couldn't do anything. But honestly, it kind of freed the car up for me a little bit, a tad bit more than I would have liked, especially on the 2-tire run there at the end. But like I said, I really wasn't complaining because my spotter was complaining to me the whole time that my right front was wearing out. So I kept it on the right rear pretty good there in the final stage, and that damage, like I said, it kind of helped. I mean, the fact that I was running a little bit looser, I was able to kind of yaw the car out a little bit and get a little bit of extra bite on the right rear, and it wasn't enough. But, at the end of the day, I had a couple close moments there too. I about looped it, and I think it was 2. So it got a little sketchy, and then I just backed it down from there.
Yeah, perfect. Well, Bryce, our champion for Season 1 in the Cup Series. Anybody you want to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, first and foremost, shout out to everybody here in the league. I know we say it every single week, but it's all the drivers, it's all the admins, it's everybody that make stuff like this happen. I got to give a huge shout out to Happy. He reached out to me early on in my iRacing quote unquote career, and we really started this thing from the ground up, and we've been blessed to have a lot of help along the way. An awesome broadcaster with you, all the other admins as well. So it takes a well-oiled machine to get things running the way they do, and I couldn't be more happy to win it here, and do it with the support of all my friends, all the other admins, stuff like that. So huge shout out to all of you guys. Again, a huge shout out to you. I know that broadcasting 7 or 8 cars every week for 6-7 weeks is not the most fun, but you definitely have a really big talent at it, and we're glad to have you on board. And again, I'm just appreciative of that. Shout out to all the drivers on track again for keeping it clean. I know that we had a couple rough moments throughout the season, but all in all, I think we've all gained a lot of respect for each other over the course of the season. And I think if you would have asked a couple people their opinion on a couple other people, there would have been some words to be said. But I think rounding out the last couple rounds here, I think we've all kind of gained that little bit more respect. So shout out to all the drivers on track. And then, of course, as far as the personal sponsors go, got to give a shout out to all the guys over at Eternal. Colby, Adam, Garrett's given us a lot of help as well. Shout out to iStats for being on the car. Triple Stint's been a partner with Eternal. I think they were really our first partners. So shout out to Triple Stint for everybody over there. iStats, I think I said that. P1 Docs hopping on the car later on in the season, and then of course just the team in general for all the practice, all the support, everything that we do as a team. It's just it's really elevated, and I think that's shown, and I just am appreciative for all those guys as well. And then last but certainly not least, shout out to my wife. Like I said earlier, we've moved from Tennessee to Florida throughout this course of the league, and it's been rough. It's definitely been a lot to deal with, but I wouldn't be able to do what I do on here if it wasn't for her. So she gets the biggest shout out of them all.
Absolutely. So, all right, congratulations, Bryce, for the championship here, and we'll let you go.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
And that will do it here tonight from Phoenix. The conclusion of our High Velocity Racing League Cup Series. And, that will conclude the season for these guys. We will go to a 3-race week from now until the end of that whole run of seasons and series goes. But Sunday night, we got the Truck Series taken on the road course at Gateway, with Monday having a round at Michigan for Gen 6. And rounding out the week, we will have ARCA as I forgot where they're racing. Martinsville. That's right, Martinsville. I remembered. They're going to Martinsville for the short track racing there for the ARCA Series. And, that's going to do it here. We will see you guys Sunday for some truck racing. Do it again, do it again, do it again.
Goodbye.